believing that people and humanity are inherently good. And they crave nutritious food in their soul, just as they do in their bodies.
Honored, and I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation, and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. That's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. We had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yes.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are in.
Justin Baldoni is breaking down, literally in tears, after Blake Lively just hit him with yet another brutal dose of public humiliation. This lawsuit is wrecking him emotionally, and his supporters can't stand seeing him in this state. But hold on, because that's just the beginning. Chappelle Rowan just got exposed for being a total hypocrite right after her Grammys acceptance. And get this, it only took a smaller artist coming forward with hardcore receipts, proving that Chappelle tried to take advantage of them. The internet is eating this up. And if that wasn't enough, we're digging into the real reason Taylor Swift got straight up booed at the Super Bowl. You won't believe what's behind this drama. This is pure chaos. So grab your snacks because we're jumping right in. First up, we have to talk about Justin Baldoni completely breaking down over Blake Lively. We're talking raw emotions, teary-eyed confessions, and behind-the-scenes drama so intense it left Justin completely shattered. If you thought this mess couldn't get any worse, oh, it just did. By now, everyone knows about the messy war between Blake and Justin. But what hasn't been talked about enough? The toll it's taking on Baldoni's mental health. Word on the street is, he's not okay. Especially after Blake dropped that lawsuit, hitting him with some serious accusations. This situation is career-ending level serious. And let's not forget, Baldoni was dropped by his talent agency within hours of Blake's expose. Now, after staying quiet for so long, Justin has finally broken his silence, and let me tell you, he did not hold back. In a recent interview, Justin straight up broke down, revealing just how much this entire ordeal has wrecked him, emotionally and financially. And before anyone tries to say he's just being dramatic, his words hit different. I had an intense year, a lot of emotional stress. It's been very hard on me and my family. This man is completely drained. And while he never mentioned Blake's name directly, we all know exactly who he was talking about. But hold up, it gets even wilder. During the interview, Justin got real about how he's been stretched too thin, constantly saying yes out of fear, a full-on people pleaser who just can't say no. And let's be honest, we all saw the proof of that when he answered Blake's demands at 2 a.m. like it was nothing. Now that we're looking at the bigger picture, imagine how different things would be if Justin was the type to stand his ground. But nope, he gives people way too much slack, to the point where his kindness has turned into his biggest weakness. And as we've now come to learn, this whole situation has pushed him to the brink, with major anxiety weighing him down. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. with his heart racing. Justin Baldoni is not okay. This man is spiraling, and just when you think things couldn't get worse, even his fight to clear his name has been nothing short of a nightmare. Let's be real. Not everyone is on his side, despite all the so-called evidence. Some people are riding hard for Blake, saying she wouldn't file something this serious unless she had proof. Meanwhile, Justin's supporters are standing firm, insisting he's being dragged for no reason. So not only is he battling in court, but he's also facing the most brutal jury of all, the court of public opinion. And let me tell you, it's been messy. But here's where things take an even darker turn. With everything crashing down on him, Justin has been forced to reflect on his past, admitting that he's made plenty of mistakes. He even confessed to wearing a mask, pretending to be someone he wasn't. And when it comes to his past relationships, he didn't hold back, calling one emotionally abusive and even revealing that both ended in cheating. This whole ordeal with Blake has forced Justin to peel back the layers of his past, reliving mistakes from his 20s that he's not proud of. All of this just to prove to the world that while he may not be perfect, he's not guilty of the accusations against him. At this point, whether you side with Justin or Blake, one thing is crystal clear. Justin is mentally struggling, and if it weren't for his supportive family, who knows where he'd be right now. Buckle up, because this situation is far from over. Not even close. And the craziest part? We're still nowhere near the hearing date, while Justin is stuck in legal drama that just won't let up. Over at the Grammys, Chappell Roan was having the night of her life, until some very inconvenient receipts came back to haunt her. Chappell was the moment at the 67th Grammy Awards. Love or hate her outfit, there's no denying. She devoured that performance. Not only was she nominated in 6 different categories, but she walked away with the Best New Artist award, which is huge. And of course, like any first-time Grammy winner, she stepped up to that mic to give her speech. Usually, this is where artists thank their fans, their teams, and everyone who helped them climb to the top. But not Chappell. Oh no, she had something way bigger to say. This was a moment she'd been waiting for, and she made sure the entire music industry was listening. She started off sweet, shouting out her fellow nominees, fans, and record label. But then, she dropped the real talk. She reminded everyone that years ago, she made a promise. If she ever won a Grammy, she'd call out the industry for exactly what it is. A billion-dollar machine that makes insane money off artists while barely paying them enough to survive. This wasn't just about her. Chappell Roan was speaking for every up-and-coming artist struggling to survive while chasing their dreams. And then, she got even more personal. For those who don't know, Chappell has been grinding for a minute. She started uploading music on YouTube all the way back in 2013, and by 2014, she was already performing her own songs around her hometown. Then, in May 2015, she got signed to Atlantic Records, one of the biggest labels out there. At first, it was everything she had dreamed of. She was dropping music, touring, and living the full-on pop star life. But that dream, it didn't last. Somewhere during the pandemic, Atlantic decided she wasn't profitable enough, so they dropped her. Just like that. No warning, no support, nothing. And because she had been signed so young, she had zero real job experience outside of music. She couldn't find work. She couldn't afford health insurance. She was left completely on her own to figure out everything. So when Chappell Roan stood on that Grammy stage and called out the industry, she wasn't just being dramatic. She was speaking from experience. She made it loud and clear that if record labels actually cared about their artists, they'd make sure they had a livable wage and healthcare. She even said that if her label had prioritized her well-being, she could have gotten the care she desperately needed after giving them 5 years of her life. And honestly, this was solid. Chappell had a point, and labels, yeah, we see you. This speech had people back on her side, especially after she ruffled a lot of feathers during her campaign. Chappell may not be perfect, but one thing about her, she's always been an activist. She's always spoken up. And on this career-defining platform, she became the voice for struggling artists. The one bold enough to call out the industry's dirty little secrets. It was raw. It was real. It was unfiltered. Until it wasn't. Because just when people were ready to ride for Chappell, the internet did what it does best. It exposed her. And when I tell you her downfall was fast, it took one person spilling the tea, and suddenly her whole fair pay for artists speech started looking real hypocritical. Let's get into this mess. Celebrity nail artist Holly Good with the Nails jumped straight into the conversation and blasted Chappell for being a full-on hypocrite. And she did not hold back. Holly took to her Instagram stories and dropped receipts, and let me tell you, they were damning. One of the first things she called out? The irony of Chappell standing on the Grammy stage fighting for fair pay when, allegedly, she refused to pay for multiple nail sets herself. According to Holly, Chappell's team hit her up in 2024, asking her to create custom nail sets for a tour. But here's where it gets shady. They only gave her 2 days to get them done. And to make it even worse, they weren't even offering real money. Nope. Instead, they told her they could only pay her an exposure, meaning she'd just get tagged on Instagram. And just to shut down any doubts, Holly dropped the email receipts. One email from Chappell's team straight up said that since her last tour was covered by Vogue and Nylon, they were expecting even more press this time. Basically, they were dangling a dream in front of her, telling her that if she did the nails for free, her work might get noticed by big outlets. But here's where it gets even messier. Chappell's own name was misspelled in that email. Like, what are the odds that someone working for Chappell Roan doesn't even know how to spell her name right? This had people divided. Some think the email wasn't even legit. Maybe it was a scammer pretending to be her team. But others? They're not buying that excuse, because while her name was wrong at the top, it was spelled correctly at the bottom, so probably just a sloppy typo. Either way, Holly Good with the nails wasn't falling for it. She declined the offer, making it crystal clear that the short notice and zero pay was not the vibe. Fast forward to 2025, and she sees Chappell standing on that Grammy stage preaching about fair wages, and she was baffled. That's when she hopped on Instagram, spilled the tea, and added another post saying, "Artists should be paid their worth because exposure doesn't pay bills." And guys, the internet was eating it up. People flooded her comments, backing her up and saying she was 100% right for calling Chappell out. Because at the end of the day, fair is fair. If Chappell's gonna demand that the industry pays artists properly, she should be doing the same. And now? The real question, was this actually Chappell's doing? Was it her team being messy behind the scenes, or was this just some random scammer stirring up drama? Because if her team really did reach out to Holly with that nonsense, then, well, this is not looking good for Chappell Roan. There's still a chance that Chappell Roan has no idea this even happened. But if she does know and just let it slide, yikes, that is a bad look. So far, she hasn't responded, and honestly, she might not. But either way, this did not age well. And speaking of things that did not age well, the internet barely had time to breathe after Chappell's drama before another bombshell dropped. The Queen took center stage, literally. Taylor Swift just got booed at the Super Bowl. And the real reason? Oh, it's way more twisted than you think. By now, you probably already know. The Super Bowl crowd turned on Taylor Swift, and the internet is on fire trying to figure out why. But let me tell you, this wasn't just about football. The boos weren't random, and they definitely had nothing to do with Kelsey. Nope. This question mark. This was something bigger. So let's talk about how Swift got that icy reception in New Orleans. It all started when Taylor was chilling next to Ice Spice, just vibing and enjoying the game. But then, the cameras panned to her on the stadium screens. Now, usually, this is the part where the crowd erupts in cheers. But this time, boos, loud, undeniable, and very intentional. Taylor looked shook. She gave a little side eye, wrinkled her nose, clearly realizing that, yeah, this was aimed directly at her. All the Eagles fans definitely played a role in this. This game was a rematch of the 2023 Super Bowl, and we all know how Philly fans get when it comes to their team. Seeing Taylor Swift, who's basically the unofficial queen of the Chiefs at this point, was probably enough to set them off. But let's be real, Eagles fans boo everything, so that alone doesn't explain the level of heat she got. Then there's the politics. Taylor endorsed Joe Biden in 2020 and showed her support for Kamala Harris in 2024, which had MAGA fans big mad. And guess who jumped into the mix? None other than Donald Trump himself. He hopped on Truth Social to stir the pot, writing, "The only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium." MAGA is very unforgiving. Now, we all know Trump loves to exaggerate, but he's not totally wrong. Taylor has been catching heat ever since she publicly took a political stance. And on that Super Bowl stage, people made sure to remind her of that. But wait, there's more. Remember when Swift turned down the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show? Well, turns out that decision had fans side-eyeing her long before this 2025 incident. Reports claimed she was too busy with her Eras tour, while others said she would have only accepted if the show was held in Nashville, her hometown. And then there's the biggest rumor of them all. that she didn't need the Super Bowl's platform since they don't even pay performers. Whatever the reason, some people clearly took it personally, and this might have been their way of making a statement. And just when you thought things couldn't get any messier, boom, another twist. Some people actually believe this all ties back to Taylor's connection to the super messy lawsuit between her allegedly estranged best friend Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And with the receipts Justin has been dropping, Taylor is getting dragged into the mess by association. It's just adding even more fuel to the fire. So, at the end of the day, these boos weren't just about one thing. It was a perfect storm of football rivalry, political drama, fan disappointment, and celebrity controversy all rolled into one. But knowing Taylor, she'll shake it off just like she always does. And that's all the drama, loves. Justin Baldoni is at his breaking point. Chappell Roan just got exposed, and Taylor Swift's Super Bowl moment turned into an absolute disaster. So now, I gotta ask, was Blake Lively doing too much? Did Chappell actually deserve the backlash? And are Swifties going to ride hard for Taylor? Or was the booing actually justified? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching and sticking with me. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notification bells so you never miss the latest tea on your fave celebs and influencers. See you on the next one.